Welcome to Sat Chats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. With Sat Chats, we are building the world's biggest Bitcoin welcome center to serve as your gateway to generational wealth. So if you are new to Bitcoin, we want to chat about sats with you. Head to satchats.com to grab your slot in the studio today. I'm your host, Stuart, Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes.
And I'm your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, Bitcoin smash buyer and proud multi-coiner, Bitcoiner exclusively.
So we want you to smash the like and subscribe the same way Chris smash buys Bitcoin. Today, our guest is Adam, coming to us live, I believe. Is it Illinois, Chicago?
I'm in the Chicagoland area, real close to O'Hare Airport.
Adam is a producer, and he's been in Bitcoin for a long time. We are going to be listening to his Bitcoin story today and also talking about any topics that might be on his mind, Bitcoin related, any questions about the future he might have. But before we do, help our satillionaires out there get to know a little bit about you, Adam.
Well, I've always been a producer. Actually, since the age of 13, I was a producer, and this is back in the early 80s. I realized I didn't have a consumer mindset, even as a kid. Doesn't mean I'm a money seeker. It just means I wanted to give the audience what they wanted. When I was 13, my friends were into dolls, action figures, comic books, and as a young kid, no internet back then, no computers back then, I would hand draw comics and sell them, photocopy them at the library and sell them. And I realized that this is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to work for the man. I didn't want to have anyone controlling my time. And I moved on to music production, was an early internet proponent back in 1988. If you're really good at Google, you can find some of my embarrassing teenage posts on the internet from 1988. Very embarrassing because I was 14, 15 years old. And then as time progressed, I switched from an internet focus to more of a libertarian focus, not politically, meaning giving people the freedom to make mistakes and the freedom to succeed. And that works well as a producer. I always defended free speech, even when it hurt me. I've been canceled a few times, and every time I was canceled, I only grew stronger, bigger, and more profitable. And nothing that anyone told me on the internet really made sense if they themselves weren't pushing this individual freedom perspective. Before Bitcoin came out, I was a big fan of some of the early debates on cryptocurrency. And of course, we didn't have the foundation for cryptocurrency that we have since Satoshi Nakamoto created the Bitcoin white paper, which is very confusing for people who are new to Bitcoin. You don't need to know about that stuff. It's scientific, it's mathematical, it's confusing. But we know now, 13, 14, 15 years later, that the math is solid. It's never been cracked. It's never been hacked. So if you're afraid of the Bitcoin math, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it right now. Something you can learn about. When Bitcoin came out, I laughed. People told me about it, and I said, no way. I said, this is like a dream come true. There's no possible way. So I immediately downloaded the white paper, and I didn't go to college. I didn't graduate high school, but I'm a pretty smart guy. I downloaded the white paper, and I read it overnight, giggling and cackling in bed with my then girlfriend, and she was very annoyed. And I had like the eureka moment. I threw the pages in the air. I ran around like a chicken with my head cut off, and I couldn't believe that this was happening. So then, the early days, we mined Bitcoin. And again, if you're into Bitcoin today, you're learning. Don't worry about mining. In fact, mining is not profitable for you. Don't do it. Don't let anyone convince you to mine. Don't let anyone to tell you it's easy. Don't let anyone take your money to mine. Don't mine. But back in the early days, 12, 13 years ago, you could do it on a laptop. So we were mining all these Bitcoin, and they were worth 6 cents, 8 cents. Eventually, they were worth 30 cents for a whole Bitcoin that today's worth $100,000. So after some time, my friends were joking and laughing at me, taunting me, poking fun at me. I Bitcoin didn't really gain a lot of steam in the first few years, so I threw that laptop out. That laptop had 400 whole Bitcoins on it.
Oh,
400, which is worth about 40 million today.
oh my goodness! And you didn't store the seed phrase for the wallet on that laptop. Just trash the laptop and had $40 million on it. Oh my goodness.
40 million. And a friend of mine at the time, he lost his seed with 200 Bitcoin on it. And then many years later, he found it again randomly, just typing in random words that he thought it might be. And it's almost impossible to do that. But if you remember some of the words, it greatly increases your chance of doing it. So he actually recovered them and then sold them when they were only worth $2 million. It would have been 20 million today. And that gets to where I've motivated myself to move. I was the first retail store in the Midwest to accept Bitcoin at the retail level. The first, number one retail store in the Midwest, maybe within the first 3 in the country, definitely within the first 10 in the world. We got a lot of news coverage. Entrepreneur Magazine did a photo session with me on a beach in Miami. They flew me and my girlfriend at the time out and some photographers. It was all really creepy because I didn't really want to be in the public eye. But I realized that the key to Bitcoin wasn't about trying to gamble. It wasn't about buy a Bitcoin at $1 and hope that it's $10,000. Because when you're gambling, you're going to lose. I don't care if it's the stock market. I don't care if it's real estate. People who win at those things are trying to sell you something. The reality of Bitcoin is kind of what you guys are talking about stacking. And I tell people, I use a bunch of different apps. I am not promoting one application over another. So don't think I'm promoting anything. But the key to my Bitcoin wealth is I would buy little bits when I didn't do something else. So like last week, my friend said, hey, do you want to go to this bar? And I said, oh, I don't know, maybe not. Let's see how the weather is. And then the weather was really bad. So we didn't go hang out, right? And I saved $32 or something. So I went into my Robinhood app, which is just one of many apps you can use. I went into my Robinhood app and I bought $32 worth of Bitcoin. I didn't go to the bar, but I spent the money on my future. That future will hopefully buy me more than $32 worth of food and drink in the future, but I stacked by avoiding something that I normally would have done. And I like certain applications like Robinhood because you can stack 9 cents. You can buy 9 cents worth of Bitcoin with no fees instantly. So if you wake up in the morning and you're like, you know what, I didn't really do anything today. I didn't do anything yesterday to save any money. I'm going to just put 9 cents into Bitcoin. 9 cents. It's literally nothing. Almost everybody can afford it. And that 9 cents over time, as you're stacking it, and as Bitcoin grows in popularity, and as it becomes more and more bulletproof and more governments accept it and more people understand it, it grows in value. So that 9 cents might become $1, it might become $10, but it's the little movements every day. You have to get in a habit. And if you didn't save last week at all, if you didn't buy 1 sat worth of Bitcoin last week, then this week you shouldn't even be thinking about going to the bar or going to the movie theater or buying that new video game or driving 6 extra miles to go. You should just say, today I'm going to save 1 penny in Bitcoin or whatever the minimum is on the application that you use. And I've been in it a long time. I've destroyed Bitcoin twice in my life accidentally. One time $40 million worth and the next time about $2 million worth. And both times it was because in the early days, you couldn't buy Bitcoin on your phone. You couldn't buy Bitcoin at an ATM. You couldn't buy Bitcoin from a myriad of banks and exchanges. There were none. The only way to buy Bitcoin is if your buddy mined it, and then you went to him physically, and you gave him cash or you gave him something of value, and he would transfer it to you. That was it. That was it. We had our own wallets. So many of us in those days lost them. We lost them. It was, $60 worth of Bitcoin. What a joke that is. And then, of course, that becomes $2 million.
How many total Bitcoin do you think are lost for good? I mean, everybody's got their...
It's probably in the 30 to 40% of what's been mined, I'm going to guess.
Wow.
I have a few friends who've passed away I'm 50, 51. I have a few friends who've passed away, and I know their Bitcoin are lost. I know they are. I know they are. One of my friends left his wife and kids secret stories to unlock the Bitcoin he has. They've asked me to help. I have no idea what they're talking about. I've read the emails. I don't know if there's a passcode. I've uploaded them to AI. I've used the first letter of every word. I mean, none of it makes sense. The guy's gone. He probably left, I don't know, 50 Bitcoin, 40 Bitcoin, a couple $1 million to his wife and kids, and can't do anything about it, you know? So now in my will, I have all the keys with my lawyer, and then eventually when I pass, it's going to be distributed hopefully properly. But I would say 30% is probably a fair number. It could be more because a lot of people, I know people who have a lot of Bitcoin who don't admit to having any because you don't want to be kidnapped over it, right? Just like if you said you had a lot of cash under your bed, you don't want people breaking into your house and taking it. So I know most of them don't have it in their wills what to do with it.
Wow. Okay. So that is an incredible Bitcoin story, Adam. And you might even be going underneath number 16 miles because up until this point, the earliest we had on the show was number 16 miles, who was he was buying Bitcoin when it was $7.
Oh, I was below that.
Stuart, this feels like every time we get an opportunity like this, it's like talking to a Jedi.
I used to have a website called $7 Tees, and it's gone now. I sold it to a competitor. And $7 Tees was a website where you could buy a fully custom colored T-shirt, 10, 15 years ago for $7. Actually, I ended up selling them for $3 because I found a secret to selling T-shirts cheap. And we were one of the first websites to accept Bitcoin. And many of my first Bitcoin sales were for T-shirts. And I want to say my first Bitcoin sale on the internet for a T-shirt was like 1.9 BTC for a $7 tee. So maybe around $3. And the guy who bought the T-shirt from me still has the T-shirt. And he still has a lot of those Bitcoins.
Yeah.
So basically, he didn't lose $100,000 on a T-shirt. I don't look at Pizza Guy as someone who lost billions of dollars. We did something incredible as a joke, because I'm a libertarian. I believe in freedom, right? But we didn't think that anyone was going to come up with this impossible math. We never thought. I mean, I would have bet against it every year until 2011 when I read that white paper.
And my thoughts on Pizza Guy is that 10,000 Bitcoin was not his whole stack. I mean, that was such a small part of what he had that he was willing to exchange it for some pizza. Absolutely. That guy has millions of dollars.
Well, here's the thing though, is when Bitcoin hit 100 or 200, probably 200, the majority of people I know who are sitting on a lot of Bitcoin sold because it was such a ridiculous amount of money when it was at 100 or 200. It was we are people who played when it was under $1. And all of a sudden it's $200. Are you kidding me? And then there was stuff like, what was that? Kim.com. And what was that huge exchange that disappeared with everyone's money? I can't even think of the name of it now. But anyway. Mt. Gox. Yep. So when that all happened and all of a sudden Bitcoin's $200, many of us, I sold 100 Bitcoin for $20,000 to buy a T-shirt printer. 100 Bitcoin. Yeah. Wow. And then a drunk guy came in and destroyed that printer. So I lost 100 Bitcoin. But 100 Bitcoin was $20,000. And 2 years earlier, 100 Bitcoin was $400. So for a lot of people, they paid off student loans, they bought cars, they bought little lake yachts, I call them. We were like, oh my gosh, $20,000. So a lot of people who had a lot of Bitcoin sold it for what seemed like a lot of money. And that's a good thing. When someone who's rich and hoards a lot of Bitcoin sells it to 200 other people, now you've got 200 more people who are proponents of Bitcoin. That's the power. I gave I'm not going to mention their name. I gave a friend of mine's kid, when he was born, I gave him 2 Bitcoin. And I think at the time it was worth $25, maybe it was worth $30 for the 2 Bitcoin. And I told them, this is a Bitcoin. You can't spend it. I'm watching it. I'm monitoring the address if you spend it. It's your kids when they turn 18. And now that friend is saying, this is a lot of money. This is $180,000. We could pay off our mortgage. And I said, your kid is only 12 years old. They will get it when they're 18. If they want to pay off your mortgage, they can pay off your mortgage. But the parents are like, it might be worth nothing. And I'm like, it's not yours. It's theirs. Don't transfer it. It's not yours. It's theirs. Maybe when they're 18, it'll be worth $1 million. They can pay off mom and dad's mortgage. But it's creating this, like, you know, this division between me and them. And I've given a lot of friends' kids Bitcoin for their birthdays. You know, I've given a couple of kids half a Bitcoin, quarter Bitcoin, which back then was $20, $30. And today it's $25,000, $50,000. They're not 18.
They're like, Uncle Adam, man.
Yeah. But the thing is, they're not 18 yet, and it's going to be really exciting to watch it. And that's part of my gimmick is when I give people a little bit of Bitcoin and I say, don't spend it. Let's watch the value. And I said, and it's a roller coaster. Be prepared. But then they're like, you know what? I think I want to add to this. And I tell them, easy. There's 1 million apps, and I don't even know all the good apps and bad apps anymore. And just get in there and put in $1, put in 50 cents a week. 50 cents, man. What is that? You know? And I mean, in my opinion, I think we're still going to see $1 million Bitcoin. I think we're going to see 10 million before I'm dead. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And there's a big movement of people to talk about who owns their money. It's a commentary in the culture of every country in the world, who owns your money. And now people are saying, well, it looks like the money is in our bank account, but it's not ours. And I think Bitcoin helps us have that conversation.
Yeah. For me, one of the big things that clicked when I was conducting my initial study was this concept of money before fiat. And, you know, I went to America's oldest public university. Shout out. If you know which one it is, put it in the comments. And I studied the Renaissance. So I drilled down into the year 1532 in a town called Montpellier in the south of France. And apparently they award degrees for getting hyper-focused on one tiny town in 1 year, 500 years ago. I don't even, how are they getting away with this? And, you know, I can understand the concept of gold as money.
Yes.
I can understand the concept of ruling powers being limited by money, because they don't control the money, so they need to have their own money if they want to do stuff as rulers. But then somehow we were transitioned to a world where the government not only controls the money, it makes the money. And the money is a nothing. The money is an absolute nothing. And with Bitcoin, I realized, my goodness, I can return to this concept of being my own sovereign individual and have my own wealth. And sure, I'm just some serf at worst, a vassal maybe at best. And, you know, there's a lord above me who goes to a duke, who goes to whatever, it's fine. I've already got the courtly love from my wife locked into place, so we're all good, dude. Hand me a lance, let me get a horse, but don't make up these nimbledy-wimbledy's and tell me it's money and make me use it. Like, let me control my own money.
So there's a great book, not to get political, but there's a great book written by Murray Rothbard. It's totally free on the internet. You can totally download it for free. PDF, EPUB, Mobi, HTML. It's called What Has Government Done to Our Money? And it's a 3 It's a 2-day read. You read it in 2 days on the toilet. That fast. It's that quick. It's totally free. And Murray defines why was gold currency. Because everyone says, oh, why would you want gold? It's not really backed by anything. It's blah, blah, blah. So Murray wrote in the simplest of English that even a junior high school student could understand why gold was money. And it's brilliant. And then if you read that book and you replace the word gold with Bitcoin, because Murray talks about how gold is dense. You can't make something else appear like gold. And gold is infinitely divisible. You can hammer it really thin, thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. And gold doesn't degrade because of rust, and gold doesn't disappear because of acid. And gold is recognizable, and gold, so he's got all these reasons, fungibility, all this stuff. But the only thing ever in all of human nature, in all of human existence, the only thing that's a one-to-one replication of what gold is Bitcoin. And none of the other cryptocurrencies come close to it. You can take any cryptocurrency, Ethereum, Monero, whatever, take any of them and replace them in Murray Rothbard's book, What Has Government Done to Our Money? Replace gold with Ethereum, replace gold with Monero. None of them hold up. Only Bitcoin holds up in his explanation. And his explanation is so good that it's convincing even the people who are uncertain about gold and Bitcoin. And I'm a gold guy. I used to do, I was one of the earliest bloggers in the 90s before the word blog existed. I used to run a daily gold discussion about the price of gold and how to store your gold and where to buy gold and, all that. So it was actually carried in a couple of Chicago newspaper websites back when the web first started. They picked up my gold bug blog. And, I was a gold guy because that's all that I had to kind of secure my wealth. But now I still have gold, but you can't buy 9 cents worth of gold and hold it. You can buy 9 cents worth of Bitcoin and then transfer that Bitcoin to your wallet, and it's yours. It's your responsibility. It's no one can, if they can't find your wallet, they can't have it if it's your wallet. No government, no cartel, no terrorist can come and take it unless they have your password. I mean, I guess they can kill you for it, but that's also true of your ATM PIN, and it's true of your 401k. If a bad person comes into your house and says log into your 401k and transfer your money out, it's the same thing, but no one can digitally steal it if it's in your control.
So, and this might be topical. Unfortunately, I'm trying to make this podcast as evergreen as humanly possible so that, your friend's kid can listen to it when he's 18 and you can be like, just go watch, just go watch number 20, I'm episode number 27. Just go watch me. You'll get it, bud. But right now this, dip is on everybody's mind. And I struggle to explain this to Bitcoin beginners, okay? When I first started with Bitcoin, I approached Bitcoin through the lens of the United States dollar because it's all I've ever known. It was the only framework for understanding Bitcoin. And it was almost like, when you try to think about a concept, you think about it in English because that's the language that you know. And it would almost be like me trying to learn something for the first time in a language I don't speak, right? So I came at Bitcoin from dollar perspective and I thought, man, this Bitcoin has gone up for 15, 16 years. Yeah, it's done this, it's done that, it's done this, it's done that, but it's only ever gone up. So you just dollar cost average into Bitcoin and just like Safety says, you're going to win, bud. But the more I learn about Bitcoin, the more I reject even that. And I say, no, man, Bitcoin actually hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's just these little slips of paper that are already worthless that are doing this and this and this. And I want to help teach these satillionaires how to not only understand from a dollar perspective that as long as your time horizon is good to go, you're good to go, but also that it's actually not going anywhere because the number of sats they've stacked has not changed, even though the dollars required to buy some more has. Like, how do you reconcile this for beginners?
Well, I think the first thing to remember is that everything in your life that can be manipulated will be manipulated by the media, by powerful players, by politicians, by activists, by celebrities. We're human beings. One of the foundations of libertarianism that I follow, and again, not to get political, is something called praxeology. And that really is to make it as simple as possible. It's studying human action. We don't study why humans act. We study human action. You could ask 1,000 people, would you join my fitness gym for $1 a month? And 1,000 people will say yes, but only 2 will actually join. We don't care why 998 didn't join. We do care that someone did join. So I'm studying action. Now with money, dollars, euros, pounds, pesos, with money, there's no audit of how much money there actually is. They try to do it. There's no audit. So those numbers, we can only go based on what we think we know. But of course, they're numbers. They can be manipulated. So $1, a peso, a pound, a euro can be manipulated, has been manipulated. We know that the government moves money around between banks, between the Federal Reserve, between the SEC, between all of these places, Fort Knox, whatever. The money's moving around, and every bureaucrat and every corrupt person in the system is taking a little bit of that. And that's okay. We understand that. Dollars go up, dollars go down. Housing prices go up, housing prices go down. Your salary goes up, your salary goes down. It's manipulated. That's fine. The reason Bitcoin is so concrete to me is they can't actually make more than the mathematical limit. They're mining a little bit every day, but that little bit is shrinking every day. And in very short period of time, maybe while we're all still alive, they will run out. And as people die with their passwords lost, and as computer hard drives crash with a wallet on it, and those Bitcoins disappear, the supply of Bitcoin goes down. And in any market, when the supply of anything goes down, generally the prices go up. If you slaughter all the chickens because of bird flu and there's no chickens left, there's fewer eggs available, the price of eggs go up. Did someone manipulate the chickens? Is someone destroying eggs? We don't know, but we do know there's fewer eggs out there, the price goes up. Over time, the number of Bitcoin in existence is going down. Because it's going down, my belief is the value of Bitcoin versus anything, versus $1, versus a house, versus an egg, versus a vacation, versus a horse, there's going to be fewer and fewer available Bitcoins. Then, secondly, it's not just about how many there are. That's called supply. How many Bitcoins are there in the world? Supply. There's also how many people want those Bitcoins. That's demand. The more people that want something, the higher the price goes up. So the fewer the Bitcoins and eggs are in the world, the price goes up. The more people want Bitcoins or eggs or houses or cars, the price goes up. So you're having fewer and fewer Bitcoins over time and more people interested in Bitcoin. You've got both sides of that economy pushing the price up. Now, when Bitcoin prices crash, goes from 110,000 to 90,000, there's a lot of reasons. Like, for example, in a month, we're going to be paying taxes in America. I'm going to be paying taxes. If I don't have enough to pay taxes, am I going to sell my house? No. Am I going to sell my clothes? No. Am I going to sell pictures of my vacation? No. What am I going to sell to pay my taxes? If I sell my stocks, there's a big tax hit. You know what I can do? I can sell some Bitcoin to pay my taxes. And when I sell Bitcoin, guess what happens? The supply goes up temporarily, which brings the price down. So when a bunch of rich people are selling their Bitcoin in the same month to pay their taxes, the supply has gone up. That pushes the price of Bitcoin down. But then in a couple of months, I'm going to want to buy those Bitcoin back. I've paid my taxes. I've made more money. Now it's time to buy more Bitcoin. I buy Bitcoin, the supply goes down, the price goes up. It's a supply and demand curve, and Bitcoin is one of the few things that you can't just create more of out of thin air. We can make unlimited eggs. We can build unlimited houses. We can make unlimited Nikes, unlimited Xboxes, unlimited PlayStations, unlimited, forever and ever. you can't make more Bitcoin than what the policy of the math states. It will never, other than the little bit of mining that's happening, it will never grow infinitely. And that means the price has a cap, as a floor.
Incredible. And I think what a lot of beginners struggle with is the idea that Bitcoin will run out. And that, and so many have been lost. And like, well, how could this possibly service the world economy? Number one, it just can, and we'll help you get there. Number two, every Bitcoin is broken up into 100 million Satoshis. And so it's highly divisible. And even if you get to a point where the whole world is using Bitcoin, but there's only 15 million out there because, Adam yeeted 6 million Bitcoin into the trash because of his laptop. Satillionaires out there, hit the like and subscribe if you think Adam personally lost 6 million Bitcoin for the whole world. He did it for all of us. Even with if 15 million Bitcoin divided into 100 million Satoshis is still not enough, which, by the way, that's like 1.5 quadrillion units of money. That still has to be enough. People don't realize that the Satoshi is the division that we have chosen. And Bitcoin itself, one of its excellent properties as money is that it is infinitely divisible. So you just make it smaller and smaller and smaller, and people can use it to facilitate transactions of any size. There ain't never going to be a problem.
When I got into Bitcoin, we priced everything in the price of Bitcoin. 1 Bitcoin, 2 Bitcoin, 5 Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin. Nobody does that anymore. Nobody does that now. Some people price in micro Bitcoins. Some people price in Satoshis. It's already gotten to the point where we're dividing it into smaller and smaller numbers. And as humans, we don't do well with that math because we have never had to do that math. But it's the natural way of things. If you read that Murray Rothbard book, What Has Government Done to Our Money, they talk about where money was started with shells and pieces of wood before there were governments and banks. People looked for a way to make transactions, and all of those things were divisible. Gold coins, you could cut them in half, and now you've got 2 pieces of gold that are equally worth half the value of 1 piece of gold. So as we divide Bitcoin smaller and smaller, it's not going to affect the economics of it. In time, I think people will come to grasp that that's a good thing, that there's a limit. A lot of people still don't understand that the reason the US dollar keeps losing value, why everything gets more expensive, is because there's no limit, and they just make more and more and more, and there's no cap to it. Even if you made a legal cap, they'd still find a way to manipulate that. Whereas with Bitcoin, it's not a law that says Bitcoin can only be so many. It's literally code. It's literally code, and it's hundreds of millions of people that don't want that code to change. Hundreds of millions of people voting no every day to not invent more Bitcoin. I think there was Bcash or one of them that changed the system, and that one dropped in value immediately to nothingness.
Yeah. Man. Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom. And Adam, we ask all of our guests if they'd be willing to come back on in 9 months to give us an update on their Bitcoin baby. Would you be willing to do that for us?
I would love to do that. Anytime you guys want me on, reach out.
Okay, amazing. This guy is going to be the man.
Yes.
All right, so let's recap. So we had Adam today on the show, and boy, did we chat about some sats. This fellow is the only one, I think, apart from Miles, who saw Bitcoin the first time and got it the first time. I mean, the recurring theme for absolutely everyone else we've spoken to, including ourselves, is that the first time you see it, you just don't get it. But Adam, along with Miles, are the two we've spoken to so far who got it the first time they saw it. Adam was mining it with his laptop. It's, 5 cents, 6 cents. I mean, absolutely going far underneath Miles on this one, who was at $7. Got up to 400 Bitcoin on his laptop. Threw the laptop away. And, it was maybe a $50, $60 loss at the time, but shoo, 40 million in today's terms. And continued to believe in Bitcoin, continued to see that money as an expression of not necessarily the political form of libertarianism, but more just like the first principle form of we're human beings, we take actions, we should be allowed to make our own choices, and that means we should be allowed to make our own mistakes as well, such as yeeting another 2 million of Bitcoin. And
Take it easy.
Made an excellent recommendation. I haven't read the Murray Rothbard book yet, but I'm going to put that on my list.
Yeah, pull it up right here.
We also heard that Adam was one of the first in the world to accept Bitcoin at the retail level, and it sounded like it was for custom T-shirts.
T-shirts, laser engraving, signage, posters, banners, stickers. We printed it all in Chicago, and we had the first Bitcoin accepted here sign in Chicago and the Midwest, and one of 3 in America.
Yeah, incredible. And we also learned that Adam, in his role as Uncle Adam, was just straight showering the young, the Americans of the future with Bitcoin. Like, hey, here's a Bitcoin for your birthday because it's $20. Here's a half Bitcoin, a quarter Bitcoin. I like this idea of almost locking it up until they're 18, because then who knows what that's going to mean for them. I mean, they're going to be able to make some seriously free choices when they become 18. Like, if you got $1 million from Uncle Adam,
Absolutely.
what choice do you make at that point? So incredible. And we also got to hear a little bit of how Adam thinks about Bitcoin and thinks about the price action of Bitcoin, the quote unquote dip that we're experiencing right now really comes down to the fact that everything in this world that can be manipulated will be manipulated. Bitcoin cannot be manipulated because it is watched over by its operators, its users each and every day who are saying, we want Bitcoin to stay Bitcoin. Stop playing around. It's 21 million. Stop playing around. It takes 10 minutes to solve a block. Okay, my Bitcoin's my Bitcoin. You can't have it. So what an awesome story, Adam. I'm so pumped up. I'm probably going to Kool-Aid man through the side of the studio once we wrap up, because I can't even believe how amazing this is. And for everybody out there, I think the biggest message from Adam was that you can get there too. All you got to do is stay humble and stack sats. It might be a weekly dollar cost average. It might be a monthly dollar cost average. It might be recognizing that it snowed, so you didn't go to the bar, but you would have spent $32. So just put the $32 in Bitcoin and act like it's gone. Yep. Right? So awesome. So we are going to pull out a little bit of Ithaca hummus for you. Yeah. And hopefully if we can get to a Bitcoin conference in Chicago, or if you're ever here in Raleigh, we'll be able to do this in person. But the, Ithaca hummus is our sponsor. You can see the mascot behind us, Bonzo, which is short for Garbanzo, has Bitcoin laser eyes, and he's blasting a chickpea. For everyone out there who wants to know about Ithaca hummus, it's right here. Ithaca hummus, buy the dip. All right, so this is lemon garlic. This is the first time it's ever appeared on the show. And this is the first time I've ever tried it. So we're going to see what this tastes like here. Let me get a fat glob.
Stuart, this is our number 2 best seller right here.
Wow. Okay.
Surprised you haven't had it.
All right. I'm a classic Ithaca hummus man, but here we go.
I like it better than a classic.
Wow. A real lemony flavor.
So pure.
Real lemony.
Yeah.
In a really good way. Like, I feel like that's like cleansing my palate with lemon flavor.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe that.
Oh. hand squeezed lemon juice. That's one way.
Wow. Okay.
And Adam, for all of your Chicagoland friends, Whole Foods, Kroger, Mariano's
Great.
will be carrying this product in March.
Oh, congratulations. I will check it out. We're a big hummus household. And in 9 months, I will come to Raleigh. I fly 140 flights a year already. So adding a stop is very easy for me.
Yeah.
So you just got to give me a date range, a couple of like a week range, and then I'll just fly in, see you guys, and fly out.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yes. Yes. All right. So we will, the two of us and you we'll connect with MJ, our publicist, and we will get you absolutely locked into place, man.
That's pretty awesome.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And one day when we can put together a Bitcoin conference in Raleigh, you're gonna be a speaker, dude. You're gonna be speaking to the people, man. So let's move into making
our offer.
It's time for Uncle Chris and Uncle Stuart to hook Adam up with a little bit of some sats.
Well, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. He may choose the dollars. Yeah. We want to leave room for that.
I suspect.
It is Adam's choice.
Yep.
But Adam, we believe here at Sat Chats that we should exchange value for value. So you provided us and our audience with an incredible amount of value. I don't know that we could ever repay you, but as a small token of our appreciation for your time today, we'd like to give you the choice between $50 US that by the time we send it to you, the least expensive way to get this to you would be through the mail. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to deduct the 47 cents of postage
transaction fee,
unless you want it faster, and then it's going to cost more. But anyway, $50 minus some stuff.
Plus, we would have to pay for like dried ice so that it doesn't melt over to you.
Even that's not, no guarantee. Or you can have $50 worth of sats today, and we've got the Clark Moody dashboard pulled up behind us, which is telling me right now that one Bitcoin costs $87,650, and that equals 1,141 sats, per dollar. So I'm going to type in 1141 times 50. That's 57,050 sats.
Yep, I got that. I got the same math. I'm going to do the sats.
Yes. Come on. Yes, Adam. Oh my gosh. All right. So you are number, let's see. So you're number 27. So you're guest number 27. And we appreciate you keeping the streak alive. That brings our scoreboard to 25 guests who have chosen sats and 2 who have chosen the cash.
Bummer.
Wah, wah, wah. All right, man. Well, Adam, we loved this conversation with you. This kind
Fantastic.
We love chatting with Bitcoin beginners because it's so wonderful to just help them think through why this is really important and to help them kind of get past some of their hangups. But for guys like you, when we get to talk to guys like you, where you've already lived that life, you've already made it happen, you're inspiring us because we, one day Chris and I, we hope that we're like you, man.
Yeah.
And we hope that the satillionaires out there who are listening feel the same way. So if you made it this far, if you really liked what Adam had to say here today, give us your value for our value. We accept likes, we accept subscribes, we accept comments, we accept stars on Spotify, we accept shares. Get the message out about Bitcoin because it's the most important thing that anyone can come to understand, right? If you don't get Bitcoin yet, stop what you're doing, figure it out, start stacking sats, and then keep going.
And stay humble.
Stay humble, Stack the sats. So help us get to 999 plus one subscribers on YouTube. That's the milestone we need to reach to unlock a live show for you all Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Adam's going to be in the chat live with us. Uncle Adam's going to be zapping people with sats on the Lightning Network, just fully in the chat, helping people, stack their first
I'll
sat
be there. I'll
on
be
the
there.
show.
I'll be there.
Oh, we love that. And he's going to come to Raleigh, this man, in 9 months.
Yes.
We can't believe it. So thanks so much for your time, everybody. Remember, Sat Chats is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. Also, our guests' views are their own, but you might want to adopt some of Adam's. Just saying. Anyway, thanks so much for your time, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.